This front double biceps, his dominant back double biceps pose, the unmatched roundness of his most muscular. What was Phil Heath's most powerful pose in his prime? Today we are going to rank the 8 mandatory poses from worst to best for 2011 Mr. Olympia Phil Heath, the gift at his best. Considering how flawless and complete prime Phil was, this will not be an easy task. Let's begin. Phil's worst pose, or rather his least impressive pose, as he didn't really have a bad pose back then, has to be either the front lat spread or the abs and thighs. Throughout his whole career, Phil has had one pretty major issue about his physique, and that was the width of his clavicles, which is most noticeable in these two poses for him. However, the pose where it appeared he struggled most against his opposition was the front lat spread. So the front lat spread is 8th and the abs and thighs get 7th place in this list. In 6th place we have the other front pose, the front double biceps, in spite of his crazy arm development. Phil was pretty strong in each pose, but he definitely was weaker from the front than he was from the side or from the back. From the remaining 5 poses, I have to say that either of them could be first place. He was that good, but we have to do this, guys. So 5th place is the side chest, and the reason this pose gets so low is not because he didn't have a good chest or good arms, which are the focal points in this pose, but actually because his arms were so powerful that it made his chest look kinda weak. His chest was good, more than okay in his prime, so don't get me wrong, but his arms were so huge and dominant that threw away the balance of this pose. In 4th we have the back lat spread. I know, most of you would think that the back poses should be 1 and 2 in this list, but that is probably the case for Phil Heath after 2016, let's say, where his back got way more dominant and his other poses, especially the front poses, got worse, suffering from the same narrowness we were discussing earlier and not having the details yet that made his back one of the best ever. The rear lat spread gets only 4th place today. What do we have left? The back double biceps, the side triceps, and the most muscular. So we have a back pose, a side pose, and a front pose. Ironically, he was so dominant in the most muscular that at first I had it in number 1, and it probably should be number 1. There is absolutely no one in the history of the sport who had rounder and fuller arms and shoulders than Phil in this pose. He had everything from biceps to triceps to forearms to shoulders, even chest. However, yet again, just like for the side chest pose, his chest gets overshadowed a bit too much by his guns. Also, yet again, his narrow structure contributes for this pose getting only 3rd place in this list. For 1st place we have to choose between the back double biceps and the side triceps. Of course, again, either of these two poses could be first, but I will choose the side triceps as his best mandatory pose for this 2011 Mr. Olympia version of Phil Heath. Hear me out, he was pretty much flawless in both poses. However, when talking about where he was more dominant, I believe that his opposition had better chances to match him in the back double than in the side triceps back then. For example, Kai Green was pretty close, if not even better in this pose between 2010 and 2014. Or if we look back in history, guys like Ronnie Coleman and Dorian Yates would beat Phil in this pose, at least 2011 Phil. So the back double biceps gets 2nd place in this list. But nobody beats 2011 Phil Heath in the side triceps ever. This is the best side triceps pose of all time, period, at least in my opinion. Prime Phil Heath had only one issue about his physique, which is his narrow structure, which doesn't play a role in the side poses. So having some of the best triceps of all time, some of the best shoulders and arms of all time, His unmatched overall fullness and roundness, even his chest and his abs look world class here from this angle, not to mention his lower body, which again is one of the most complete of all time. All these combined with an inspired execution makes feel his side triceps the best ever and his best and most dominant pose. Like, subscribe and comment below your own list. I'm very curious, what do you guys think? Next, you can check out this interesting statistics comparison between Arnold and Ronnie Coleman. You're gonna see who has the better career numbers, so see you there guys.